Lauren Cohn, John Cass, 89 WLS. We're here now with the serious issue. Our President Barack Obama, in Israel, on his way to meet with Israeli leaders at a very critical time in our history.
Yep.
The Iranian threat is, at least we're told, is increasing. There's more and more pressure to involve America in another war domestically. People don't want one, but foreign policy being what it is, we'll have to see. And to sort this out is our guest, Peter Brooks from the Heritage Institute. Peter.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Thanks for being with us.
What do you make of the president's trip and what it means with respect to Iran, Syria, etc.?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about while he's over there. This is his first trip to Israel. He didn't go in his first term, and he'll go over there. He'll visit Israel, and he'll also go to Jordan, and he'll also go to the West Bank, and he'll meet with the Palestinian leaders there as well. And there's obviously a lot going on. I mean, some people may say the president shouldn't go overseas considering what's going on with the debt crisis and the financial issues, but I'm kind of a foreign policy geek, so I think it is important because of some of the things, John, that you mentioned. They're going to want to talk about the Middle East peace process. I think relations with Israel are not very good. They've not been good for quite some time. Benjamin Netanyahu has been reelected in a weaker coalition as the new prime minister in Israel. I think there was, under the Obama administration, has been a lot of distrust between Israel and the United States, between the two governments. But then, you mentioned the Iranian nuclear program, Syria. I mean, that's going on pretty much right next door to Israel, Egypt. I mean, there's just a whole, and of course, the Middle East peace process.
Peter, there's so much insecurity going on right now among the Israeli public, and we remember when we saw that former President Clinton went over there numerous times. The idea was to reassure the Israeli public, and this tour is a little bit about symbolism and a listening tour as opposed to setting any policy. Is that going to make a difference with the president going over?
Yeah, Lauren, I'd keep your expectations low.
Yeah.
Like I said, the relationship, I mean, George Bush didn't go to his second term, and he went twice in the 8th year of his presidency, but the relationship was much stronger. And, of course, the Israeli politicians visited Washington quite a bit, and Netanyahu comes here at least once a year, if not more, for the UN General Assembly, and he makes a trip to Washington as well. But there has been a lot of mistrust. I mean, the president has scolded them on their, the settlements in the West Bank. There's been no progress whatsoever towards, the Middle East peace process. A lot of folks, my sense is, I'm not in Israel at all, so my sense of things from Washington is that a lot of them saw him as very, reaching out very much to the Muslim world. But not necessarily reaching out to Israel. Some of them are very concerned about the progress that Iran has made under the last 4 years under the Obama administration, and so I think there's a lot of concerns on both sides.
And also, there's a reading, I think, correctly by the Israeli government that after they pushed, Benjamin Netanyahu and allies here in the United States tried to push in the presidential election on Obama to push him towards Iran, and you had Romney and all the Republicans, running to show their support for Israel. Romney lost, right? So I'm sure that figures into the calculations of the Israelis.
Democratic politics are what they are, right? You can't choose who you're going to be dealing with. And it's quite a tribute to both the United States and Israel that they do have peaceful transitions of power and democratic elections. I mean, Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East today. So I mean, it is a tribute, but you can't always pick your partners. So you have to do it. What you have is what you have, or it is what it is.
Well, one of the things I'm concerned about is that because there might not be any major substance, there will be symbolism.
Oh, sure.
And I look at the New York Times over the weekend. There's a push for, the story goes, and it looks like one of those advanced stories leaked out to make things a little bit easier on certain people in Washington. Obama's visit to Israel renews effort to free spy.
Renews our what?
Obama's effort to Israel renews effort to free spy.
Jonathan Pollard.
Yes, Jonathan Pollard, who's been in prison.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, if you spy on, if you're working for the United States in the CIA and you spy for another country, I don't care if I'm Greek of American of Greek descent.
Yeah.
And there have been people who've been sent away for that as well.
Yeah.
They should rot there. I don't care if they're Greek, Jewish, Polish, whatever it is. If
Right.
you're American, and now I see this move to sort of release Pollard. What do you make of it, given your background and how?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, he's Pollard. I think was actually at Naval Intelligence at the
Yes.
time,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. It's going back to the 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he committed espionage, and this comes up every once in a while. And I as somebody who
As he was in the CIA at the time when he did that.
Oh, he was at the CIA, not Naval Intelligence. Anyway, he was working for the U.S. government.
Right.
He was committed espionage. He was convicted of that, and I think he needs to serve a sentence.
Do you think there's a move to release him?
Oh, I think frequently there's a move. I don't know if it has anything to do with this trip, but there's frequently been a move over the years to have him released. Yes, there has been. I'm aware of them. They come up every once in a while. It comes across my radar. But I don't think that's what this visit is about or should be about.
Peter, let me ask you a question, because you've talked to us on this show before about nuclear weapons, and there seems to be a serious difference between Netanyahu, Israeli Prime Minister's view of how close Iran is to nuclear weapons, and the president's release, saying a difference between a few months and a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's struggling to figure out what's going on inside the Iranian nuclear program, and that's why, Lauren, they call them estimates. They're estimates of when things are going to be that way because they don't know. The Iranians aren't, showing us everything that they need to show us about their program. So there's a lot of estimations, and Israeli and American intelligence and others are working very, very hard to figure that out. Now, you got to remember that, Israel, you can't, geography is destiny, right? Israel is where it's at. It's close to Iran. It's like having a house, it's like, a house being on fire across town or in your neighborhood. Obviously, if it's in your neighborhood, you're obviously much more concerned about it. And I think Israel sees the Iranian nuclear threat as an existential threat to them. So I think they're very, very concerned. But the problem is that there is, I wouldn't say guesswork, that's not fair to the intelligence people, but there are estimates, there are judgments that are made without having all of the facts in front of them. And the worry is that Iran's going to have a nuclear breakout and everybody's going to be surprised.
And we'll have to leave it there for now, but I hope you join us again. Peter Brooks, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Senior Fellow, National Security Affairs at the Heritage Foundation, John Kass with Lauren Cohn. We'll be back after this.
89 WLS. Whether it happens in Chicago or around the globe, be the first to know about it. Text BREAKING to 68683 and get breaking news alerts. 89 WLS.
Don Wade in Roma, if you're listening to this, you're looking pretty good.
It's a great
on that
picture, yeah.
Great picture on the WLS89.com website.
Yeah, we love it. Looking great.
No more looking like the guy in Breaking Bad. Now you're looking like a man about ready to call John Kass and Lauren Cohn and say, you want to come fishing?
That sounds
You look
fun.
like you're getting on the boat ready to go fishing, my friend.
They
Looking
look
good.
happy. They look good.
So anyway,
Yeah, we're taking people's calls on this issue about the president's trip to Israel, and it's 312-591-8900. And this is a new poll out that I thought was interesting, John. 55% of Americans in this ABC News Washington poll sympathize more with Israel, 9% more with the Palestinian Authority. But even though those who are more sympathetic to Israel's side, the majority feel that the U.S. should not take the leading role on this.
in what specifically?
Basically, that we should not get involved and we should let the Israelis and the Palestinians work this out on
In
their
terms
own.
of their own peace process
Right.
that they're not
Right.
working out because
Right.
the Palestinians still support certain terrorist groups and the Israelis are still building in the settlement disputed areas. So both sides are beyond our control in this respect.
Right, and you always have the old story of people being displaced in the middle and refugees and...
Well, you know what? People fight for land, okay, on both sides. And, no one wants anybody to get hurt, and I just wish people could live. But do the people of the United States want, if Israel attacks Iran, for example, and sees them as a serious threat, would the people of the United States support going into war with Iran?
All right, and especially since we're just pulling everybody out of Iraq and Afghanistan.
See,
and
it's
very tough because, I've always been a supporter of Israel.
Of course we are.
Yeah.
They're our ally, and we will support them. But at the same time, it looked like the way the Republicans were pushing it, right, during the campaign. Yes, let's go, let's fight Iran. that the Republicans themselves lost the election in some measure because people are tired of the wars.
Right. We're also seeing the same problem on the, Israeli-Syria border, which the buffer zone ever since the capture of the Golan Heights. We're seeing the same type of violence escalating. And
here's the thing. We have an amateur in the White House, and one saving grace, I think, is that he's not pushing us into wars. On the other hand, our allies are nervous. Mm-hmm. Israel's nervous. They want to be protected. They don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. So it's not you spend your career voting present in the Illinois State Senate. Sometimes there's no more present.
Right.
John Cass, Lauren Cohn, we're back after this.
89 WLS. When you want Chicago's classic hits, turn to 94.7 WLS. For traffic and weather info, tune in to 890 AM WLS for traffic and weather first on the fives when you need it most.
So what's coming up at 10?
John, there's a real and serious threat to folks in River North that you're going to want to listen to because this is really important. And I was up in Lakeview yesterday, and apparently they're having the same problem up there, and this is serious business. So we want folks to really listen to our warning that's coming up next.
It's coming from the police, and this is John Cass. I'm with Lauren Cohn. News with Ryan Burrow is next. It is 10 o'clock.
From Chicago to the North American continent.
In our 89th year, entertaining Chicago. 89
WLS.
It's going to be warm today. Don't wear your fur coats. Don't drink a lot of beer.
That's the Chicago Report. I'm Lyle Dean.
I'm announcing my candidacy today for a second term as mayor.
Here we are again, the animal stories. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Our 89th year, Chicago's talk leader. 89